The topic for today, we put it out on Instagram. Yeah, you faded me out, yeah? Yeah, we put it on Instagram. And obviously it is in the tragic moments of Caroline Flack, who was one of the presenters for Love Island. Should I call her presenter? Yeah, presenter. Yeah. Presenter for Love Island, who tragically took her own life. And we want to talk about today whether the media, social media especially, are they judge and jury for things? Do we assume too much? Do we come to our own conclusions? Do we even look at the facts? Better still, do we even care about the facts? Because sometimes a hot topic is just a hot topic, and it's sad that we've got to lose lives to get these hot topics in inverted brackets. It's not right. It's not right.
And I guess a lot of the time it's dependent on who that person is.
Agreed. And you know what it is that I've seen so much today going out there, yeah, about mental health. There's been just so many words spoke about it. There's been so many things that it's just like, well, she took her own life. In fact, let me go to Pop Smoke first. Yeah, we just obviously just played this track. 20 years old. He
Craig, sorry.
Lost. Yeah, go on.
Before you start, let me stop you because we know we got to do the important stuff also as well. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody listening in, not anybody, everybody listening in. If you want to get in contact with us, if you want to come through live, if you want to have a conversation with a grown-ass man and put your point across, you can do so. Contact us on 07951 497 878. Once again, for the slow people in the back of the room, 07951 497 878. Craig, it's yours.
Yeah, listen, again, big up Pan-African who ain't here yet. Yeah, he's going to be joining us. But yeah, I was just talking before about Pop Smoke, 20-year-old New York rapper who basically looked like he was on the verge of blowing up, becoming big. Yeah, only been rapping for about 2 years and literally just living the life, trying to transition from the street life into being a pop star, basically. He went out to LA, he was in California, and somebody broke into his house. Again, this is all just social media, and that's what we're going to come back to. Somebody apparently broke into his house, 2 guys, shot up the place, and unfortunately he lost his life.
Right.
All right. So immediately, the reason why I say that is to say this, that there is nothing apart from hearsay that's come out about this. The only thing that we know is that 2 people were seen fleeing from the property. However, now there's been all of this speculation about his brother apparently setting him up. Okay. Setting him up to be robbed, setting him up to I don't know whether it was to be killed, but setting him up to be robbed.
Yeah.
And everybody just seems to be running with it.
As if it's gospel.
Exactly. And no one is like, well, you know what? Cool. 1, let's mourn this person.
Yeah.
2, let's wait for the facts.
Yeah.
Before we come to any sort of conclusion. It is just like, well, you know what? That's been said now. Now that's the hot topic. So and then it forces his brother to then come out and have to say something. I'm talking less than 24 hours after the guy's passed away. His brother, like, it's crazy to me. And then we obviously come back again full circle to Caroline Flack, who, you know, again, there was room, and again, this is just hearsay. I'm here to tell you what I've heard. And again, we're going to speculate on that. But apparently she was going through some things, told close friends and whatnot. Apparently her friend had gone to the shop or something on those lines.
So that's that information I think we can take as factual because it's been reported in the press. Even though the press aren't to be.
Well, exactly. This is where do we go with that?
Yeah. So apparently, the person was at the house because they were concerned for her well-being, her mental state.
Yes.
Popped to the shop, came back, wasn't able to get back in, and then that's when her father was called, and then ensued that they found her. Yeah.
And listen, RIP is horrible to hear. It's horrible to hear. And as you know already, listen, we're fans of the show Love Island, man. We talk about it. We have a little segment at the end of the show where we do discuss it. So, and unfortunately, listen, it's a young woman whose life is now gone. But we have to look at the reasons. We have to look at the whys. And a lot of it comes down to pressures. It comes down to social media. 1 second. Sorry. Right. Dwayne came through and tried to take my drink. I was like, no, let me stop my sentence. Yeah. But a lot of it does. It comes down to social medias and the pressures the pressures and the stress that it brings, and how do we deal with those stresses? That's a lot of in terms of the direction of the conversation that I want to have today, as well as many others. I definitely want to go into that, because I do believe that us as people, us in this day and age, we look for so much validation through social media, and we almost live and die by it, which is...
Yeah, so, I mean, first and foremost, I just want to say RIP to Pop Smoke and RIP to Caroline Flack. It's sad and it's tragic, and I think we shouldn't have to get... Some people that shouldn't have to leave the life for us to check ourselves.
Agreed.
Because what I've found and what I've seen is a lot of people are like, the media, the press, and whilst I agree with that, I do agree with that, I don't think people realise that social media is you. It's me, it's us.
It's not...
You know what I mean? And so I think people aren't taking the time to actually look into themselves and say, well, you know what? Right, I'm guilty of commenting and slagging that person off and saying negative things about that person without even thinking how that affects that person on a day-to-day basis.
And it's not just social media. We feed the media. So if we don't buy their papers, they don't print those stories. The fact that they put it, they sensationalise a headline, and we go pick those papers up and buy them. Well, not me specifically, but the society. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing about it is that's difficult, because that's to do with tradition, in the sense of what people are used to going out and buying their newspaper in the morning. Like, you've got some elderly people who that is part of their everyday routine.
I understand that, Dan, but we're still buying into it.
But what I'm saying though is, it's not just an overnight thing of okay, well, just don't buy it then, because it's a public way of it's just routine for some people. You buy, because I know for me, I get up in the morning, brush my teeth, get ready, look on social media, look on.
And you know what? That's so true.
Yeah, bro.
One of the first things I do is look at my phone.
Yeah, and it's routine.
You don't got issues, man.
No, bro. I'm just being real.
No, this is real, and you know what? I'm. Everyone says you got issues. No. This is normal.
Yeah,
literally.
It is normal.
The first thing that I do, the first thing I do when I wake up, I look at my wife, I look at my phone. I look at my wife, make sure she's still there. You know what I'm saying? But then, literally, I look at my phone, and then you just start flowing through social media. Yeah. You know what's so scary about it is that I'm not even thinking about it.
Do you know what I do? I'm embarrassed to admit, but you know what I do? I jump on my social media. I'm like, all right, let me try and get the information first before anybody else gets it. Let me see if I can repost first before anybody else is.
That's mad.
You got problems, bro.
Are you not listening to yourselves?
Craig says it's normal.
Fiends.
But in reality, whether it's normal or not,
you're social media fiends.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's about time that people actually are honest and come out and say, yes, I am a social media fiend. So I do not like it. It's something I don't like about myself. And now what I'm trying to do is actively take time out. So I'll switch off my phone of an evening. I'll switch off my phone. Do that. Do you know what I mean? Just so that I'm not engaged. But coming back to the topic, it's, do you know what? I'm a conspiracy theorist, innit? And I don't want to take.
Is it? You're lying.
I don't want to take the conversation too far left. But I think it's been it's new age programming. It's new age programming. So immediately when you wake up in the morning, you check your social media. Social media is a way of life. Do you know what I mean? And it's a way of controlling us without us getting too deep into it.
And listen, I hear that. I totally hear that. And I think as well is that, listen, we're talking about social media. We're asking everyone to lock in on YouTube, Instagram.
Right.
Yeah. Pulse 88. Yeah. Big up yourselves, everyone else who's listening. But we are literally, our whole world functions around social media. I saw a meme today which actually made me laugh, and the first thing I did was screenshot it because I was thinking I want to share it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it said something because it said something on the lines of, if you want to see everybody in your house at the same time, turn off the Wi-Fi. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody is coming out to see what's listen.
They're all coming to me, boy.
I've seen my son almost have a meltdown. Like, what's going on? Yeah. What is going on? Like, no. I'm like, no, the rent's paid, we're cool. No, but what is going on? You know what I'm saying?
You could stop anything else in the household. No washing machine.
We might not have
no
food.
Microwave,
That's
no
fine.
food.
You know what I'm saying?
Lighting done, no heating. But you told me there's no Wi-Fi.
It's important.
There's issues.
But this is what it is. But I think as well, And listen, I understand that this conversation might be a little bit too deep for some. I give no apologies. I'm just going to tell you this is just what it is. Because I think mental health is something that is often ignored. It's a hot topic at the moment. I am guilty, 100% guilty of maybe not paying enough attention to it, especially as it affects our community so much more than others. Just in terms of the numbers and the percentages. Yeah, listen, when I was doing some research, it was very, very scary. It said the risk of psychosis for Black Caribbean groups is 7 times that of a white man.
Yeah.
Ooh, 7 times.
Yeah.
Like, and I just think to myself, oh my gosh, like that is crazy. But we have an issue within our community about speaking about mental health.
Seeking help as well.
And seeking help. Yeah, I'm saying. But again, there's, you said that you're a conspiracy theorist, but just going through some of the research, the average wait time for effective treatment is 10 years. 10 years.
10 years. Hold on.
For effective mental health treatment is 10 years.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is often a lot of doctors, the NHS especially, are only acting when it gets to the state of crisis.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? And that's when I say effective, not to say that they're not being looked at, but effective treatment.
Is that a money issue?
Well, who knows? We have to speculate on that. I don't know. Well, I say I don't know, but 6% of health research, goes into mental health. Out of health research as a whole, only 6% is put aside for mental health, which is disproportionate to say the least.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Understatement. But the thing about it is, I think it's about having these conversations. It's about making it no longer a taboo for people to say, do you know what? I feel like something's not right within me mentally. I just don't feel right. Let me go and see somebody about it. Because once again, before it gets to the critical stages, I think people will see red flags within themselves way before
100%.
it gets to the critical stage.
So you probably think you can deal with it?
Yeah. But once again, you probably think you can deal with it, but you've at least known or seen or identified that something's not right. So instead of me saying to myself, all right, let me think, I can just deal with it, let me go and speak to somebody about it. It's not yet at a critical stage, because we're talking about the information that Craig's just given. But it's about getting to people before it gets to critical.
I totally agree and understand what you're saying, D, but I think that's easier said than done, because if you are going through something, ultimately you feel to yourself that you can manage. So if you're going to tell yourself, I'm not right, but I can get through this, you're going to keep doing it. You're going to get to the critical stage because you feel you can deal with it.
But I think it depends on how you're telling yourself you can manage, and why you're telling yourself you can manage. If you're just saying to yourself, you know what, man up, man, it's nothing. I've got this.
And listen, black men are so guilty of that.
Right, that's the worst thing. But if you're saying to yourself, you know what, I've identified this within myself, and I've identified certain triggers, and I've got a coping mechanism that allows me to deal with these situations when they're arising. Yes, but are a lot of people doing that? I doubt it.
It's crazy because listen, I've been going stat crazy today, and it's scary. Looking into it, it's scary. Obviously, I knew beforehand that there was an issue, not just within our community. I knew that it was rife as such within our community, but there's a general issue, because at the moment, suicide is the leading cause of death for people aged 20 to 34.
Right.
All right, and it's higher now than it's ever been in the last 10 years.
Right.
And I think that's something to do with things like social media.
Exactly that, bro. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Because we're kind of getting away from the whole topic, and I think that brings us back around nicely, in the sense of like, people don't realize how much effect social media is having on us on a daily basis, and the little flyaway comments that you might, that's dead, that's, I don't know what it may be.
It's true, but we have laughs at little things.
Yeah, the flyaway comments that you make at people's expense, nobody takes the time to think, how is that actually affecting that person who have made the comment?
Yeah,
you don't think
it's
so.
right.
And you don't. Listen, I remember even just with us lot, we got a group. Everyone's got a WhatsApp group with their friends, yeah. And if you ain't got a WhatsApp group with your friends, then
boy,
you know what? We're trying to make one up to try and help people out.
They probably got a group you just ain't part of it.
Yeah, for real. You know what?
The secret ones.
And listen, if you have a problem with that, we're here to talk. I'm talking for anything right now. But we was talking about. Do you remember when African Child? Is that his name? African Child.
AC, yeah.
AC, yeah. When he went viral, yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, as much as I was laughing and it was funny straight away, I then tried to take a sit back and kind of look at him and think, this guy is clearly going through some sort of mental instability, let's call it. I don't want to say, listen, some people are playing up to it, you understand what I mean? But to me, this clearly going through something.
I want to agree with you, because I've said for time that I think he's got some kind of mental issue. But sometimes I think the guy's a genius. Like, I'm laughing, but sometimes he does things, and it just gets traction.
It's a thin line, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very thin line.
But this is the
But
point.
it definitely comes across like there's something not right.
But is that saying more about him, or is that saying more about the viewers? In the sense that we are, like, it's the crazy. The more crazy it is, the more we're likely to tune in.
Exactly.
Do you see what I'm saying? The more the more outlandish it is, regardless of whether a person's crying out for help or not, the more outlandish, the more outrageous, the more like that's when we all do it. We tune into negativity and controversy, and without thinking about what's going on in that person's life.
And you know what it is as well? We are by nature selfish people. Yeah. Because
Craig, you're more selfish than me, but yeah, I get
quite possibly. But listen, Darren, you've got a trend of talking nonsense, so it may have just been one of those comments. But gone are the days where people just turn up to each other's houses to check in on somebody. Like Dwayne, for example. he lives at the end of the earth, so that might not be easy to kind of do.
Bro,
but
sorry. If I decided to turn up at Dwayne's house, like check my passport, everything, get the visa, everything, and go to Dwayne's house, and he weren't there, do you know how fuming I would be?
We would probably fall out. It's my fault, but we would probably fall out because you need to be there for coming that far.
I think it's selfish that you live so far.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't care if I'm 10 minutes around the corner. You better call me. Don't just turn up and call me.
No, but listen,
there's not a habit of doing that. Just randomly just showing up.
You know,
but so what? And it's family, innit?
I want to turn up, I turn up.
Exactly. But my point being is that social media has got so in the way of normal forms of communication, such as picking up the phone. I'm with that. Listen, I will send you about 25 voice notes going back and forward, rather than just pick up the phone and have a conversation. But you know what it is? It's that if someone is leaving you a voice note, because we got to look at ways that we can identify that friends, family, and people have issues. If someone's just texting you or something like that, you can't pick up no tone. You can't read properly. Even if someone's leaving you a voice note, they've got something they want to say and then they're coming off. You can't pick up a vibe for how they're kind of feeling. So it's almost like some of the friendships and stuff that we have are almost watered down.
I don't know about that.
It's positives.
I agree with the fact that you say that social media is taken over a lot of that, but I still feel amongst us, I still feel a phone call is made every so often. Every so often, Nick might call me, just checking in on you, bro. Like, those things happen amongst us, so therefore I feel that whilst phone calls are limited, they do happen when they need to happen. I don't want to hear someone's voice every day, taking half an hour, 45 minutes of my time, man. So.
Down UK. This is your favourite station. Pulse88.co.uk.
Yeah, and it's Pulse FM. Grown ass man inside the building. Myself, Darren, Riggs.
What's going on, people?
Craig.
What's good?
And the late one.
The latest.
Man, Dwayne, you know what time it is.
The late one.
No, you don't know what time it is.
You know what I'm saying? Now, come on, guys. I'm always late, man.
Listen, real quick, because we're just gonna keep plugging this number. All right. We had a couple of callers before, but they'll be so interested in the conversation that we kind of missed it. So listen, once more, 07951 497 878. Once again, 07951 497 878. And real quick before we get back into the topic, ladies and gentlemen, Grown Ass Men are going to be keeping a live event. All right, we're going to be keeping a live event, and it's going to be, the date is
the 5th of April.
The date once more is
Sunday the 5th of April, man.
All right.
Pencil it down, put it in your diaries, notebooks, whatever you do.
Come true, man. Catch a vibe with us.
And listen, if you want to get a couple tickets, then make sure you just keep locked into the shows, because over the weeks, as it's approaching closer to the date, we will be giving away 2 free tickets. So make sure you're locked into the show. If you want to catch the vibes, if you want to catch the banter, And if you're coming down, make sure everything looks pristine, because Craig just might attack you.
No, I'm not like that. Don't do that. Don't do
Not
that.
me. Not
Don't
me.
do that.
He is the most likely.
But Craig might attack you. I'm just saying.
If my back's against the wall, I'm not gonna lie. I will spot someone. If I find you slipping, we're all gonna know about it. It is what it is, isn't it? Nah, but it's all fun and games. But in reality, just come with energy. Come to interact as well. You're not coming just to watch something. Come to mingle with us. We want to talk. We want to interact with people. That's what we do.
You're opinionated ones. We need you there.
100%, yeah. Shout out to Shah PR, Clark London, Leashy Leash.
Man just said opinionated ones and he's like Shah PR and stuff.
Lied it nicely.
It sounded a bit like a sin.
Nah. See, this is what I'm saying. Them man set me up and make it look like I'm doing this, and I'm not doing nothing like that. But listen, we've been just to kind of repeat what the topic is today. Obviously, we're talking about the social media, the responsibility they have on, I guess, on people and their mental health, because unfortunately we've got people out there who are taking their lives. There is so much emphasis and validation that's put on social media that we look for on social media, and again the pressures that come from social media, we come to our own conclusion about things without even being well informed. So again, shout out to the late, I was going to say great, but I don't know if that's...
Don't call me that.
No, you're still here, bro. Yeah, you're just about here, but yeah. Shout out to Caroline Flack, man. Rest in peace. So one of the things that I wanted to ask is, do we all think that social media and the media in general should be controlled in some aspect in regards to painting a narrative?
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
I think it's far too often that they do it, and we buy, like I said before, we buy into it and we keep running with it. Once they've got the idea that the public are on side, they just keep going. They do not stop, and they pursue and they pursue, and then it gets to people's mental health. I mean, I can't even imagine what it would be like to be under so much pressure.
It's like, all right, for instance, everybody should know the situation, Raheem Sterling. You know,
Yeah.
like the narrative now, it wasn't coming out and saying, he's done this and he's a bad person, and blah, blah, blah. It's subtle. It's I don't know, thug Raheem Sterling. When if you're talking about a white counterpart, the word thug wouldn't. So it's subtly kind of tarnishing a set of people.
I get that, and I feel that the subtle ones don't hit home as much. I'm not saying it doesn't touch, but I feel that it's a lot worse when they're direct on one particular person and just on him. Because I mean, for example,
That's how they start. They start.
where it's not subtle. It's just direct in his face, and he's got to deal with that daily.
But I believe things like that start out subtle, and what is, because you start to get traction and because people start to go along with it, you can start to be a lot more blatant, because now people are with you. Now people have jumped on the bandwagon. So when you do something blatant, it's not looked at it in any kind of great negativity, because everyone's already used to you doing little digs and little subliminals. Now they're along with you. Now they want to be as blatant as you're being. So when something is out there in the media and it's out there in your face, it doesn't mean as much anymore.
Let me come back to Caroline Flack and let me kind of keep it very, very real.
Yeah.
She obviously, it was highly publicized that she assaulted or was physically abusing her partner.
Yes.
Yeah. As to how true that is, I have no idea. But she apparently, I think, was arrested for it, and he had, I don't know if he had some sort of injunction against her, or
He did.
So no, he didn't have the injunction against her.
it was the CPS or something.
Yeah, the Crown Prosecution Service, they decided that they basically went to proceed with prosecution, even though he was saying, I don't want to prosecute, I don't want to press charges.
Yeah, they don't need you no more. They don't need you to press charges.
Once they feel like they've got enough evidence to make a case of it, and obviously with the fact that she's in the limelight, they wanted to make a case of it. You know, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the time,
Yeah.
I was celebrating the fact that she was
Called out.
called out on it,
Yeah.
and she was getting the same sort of flack. Bear with me, guys, before I get any hate comments as well. Getting the same sort of flack that a man would.
Yeah.
Better yet, a black man would. And I just thought to myself, well, you know what? everyone keeps screaming for equality. Good. You know what? If she has done so, then yeah, she should be called out on it. She should be. You know what I'm saying? But then what came with that was she lost her job. She lost her job. She was sacked from it. And one of the things that I would say is that I think I'm not trying to say ITV have responsibility over a passing or a death or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I do think employers have a responsibility or at least a duty of care for their staff or for staff that they're getting rid of.
Yeah, I did read that they did support her.
Okay.
After the second, they did support her, even when she was going through the stuff that they provided support for her.
Why wasn't she suspended pending investigation? Because it wasn't an out.
Which doesn't
Right,
happen.
it wasn't. And this
out-
is what I'm going with.
Sorry, but what is the moment your name is tarnished, the company wants to separate any kind of association with you because everyone starts looking after themselves.
But
It's
this is my
damned
issue.
if you do and damned if you don't.
But this is my issue. Like, I feel that we should have to wait for a jury to make a decision. I don't think the public and the media should make that decision. I think a suspension would have been the right thing to do. I don't know. Would you be suspended with pay or suspended with no pay? Regardless, I think you should just be suspended and not fired. It is harsh reality if you're just fired from your job and like you may even be innocent.
All right, cool. Let's. I think we need to be really, really, really honest right now.
Let's do that.
Because if this was, I don't know, say she had made a racial statement or whatever, blah blah blah,
Right.
and then she was suspended.
That's fine with
with
me.
full pay.
All right, I tell what show on the pay.
Right, suspended with full pay. A lot of us would be up in arms and saying, she should have been fired, blah 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 blah.
Can I?
Now, sorry, what did you say?
Look, for me,
Yeah.
I understand that if we know that it's been said. When it's just an allegation from one party to the next, I think it needs to be investigated.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is that how honest are we being? Because prior to her taking her life, and us then now like evaluating kind of the contribution that we play and the media plays, how honest are we being? Because would we have said that before?
I personally feel I would. For me, I would have been happy with if someone gets suspended pending an investigation. I'm cool with that.
But listen, I'm a big fan of keep that same energy. Yeah, that's like a saying that I like to kind of just keep that same
Basically what I'm
energy.
saying.
And my thing is, would you said about people being up in arms if it was, let's just say, a racial comment?
Yeah.
And again, I'm going off. I do like to give a little bit of a scenario every now and again.
Yeah,
but
scenario.
all right, no. But let's just say it was a racial comment that she made, and the same action was taking place. I think everyone would be there clapping. Well done, ITV. That's what it should be. However, would you keep that same energy if you knew that there was a chance she would take her life if she was sacked and lost her job for the comment that she made, which she was sorry for?
For me, like I said, I prefer a suspension pending investigation if we don't know. However, if there's evidence to support what you have done, then fire you.
Yeah.
You get fired. Whether I'm sorry, bless her soul. If you're going to commit suicide, that's not ITV's fault. If she's done what she's done, if you've done what you've done, then that's on you.
But do they have to take a level of blame, hold some kind of responsibility for it if they haven't provided the right level of support?
But are they
once again,
entitled? Do they have to provide support?
No,
Yes, I think so. Yes,
you have to understand,
yes.
If you get fired from work tomorrow, they
No,
give you no
it's
support.
not the same. I am not in the public eye, and
But
I
hold
think
on.
that is so important.
And when you fire someone before being charged, then you have to take a level of responsibility for that impact that you've now had on it.
And I agree if it's not, that's what I said about evidence and so forth.
Yeah.
That's why I agree suspension, isn't it? But I don't know what she told them, if it's true. I don't know. Just
And
I mean,
also, we don't know if they offered her and she declined
she
it.
rejected it.
We don't know.
I understand that, but my thing is, I think you made the example before about employment, blah blah blah. But I think when you're in the public eye and you've been built up and you've now got a following, my little 50 followers and her 1 million followers is gonna, let's just say, because we're talking about social media and the pressures, because I'm sure she would have had some people writing horrible things about her.
She did.
Yeah, I'm saying.
She when it all came out, a lot of people jumped on it and they did start attacking her.
Exactly. My 50
And-
followers are probably my family. Like that's just bare support.
And
You think
exactly
your
like
followers,
how you were
Love
saying,
me.
you was glad for the outcome. Not glad for the outcome, but in terms of
Yeah, let's be clear.
Equality. If
Yeah.
she has done something wrong, you're glad that you know, she
was called out.
getting the same level of attention that someone else would get. But when that happens, that's exactly how people felt on social media, and they jumped on it, and everyone jumped on the bandwagon, and before they actually knew anything, they were all going at her saying, you know, she shouldn't have been doing this. They're glad she's got charged. She's been accused. Blah blah blah. When really no one knew any facts.
And that's the issue. For me, you can be pleased that there's some equality being put in place, but because you don't know the facts, then keep quiet. Going at her with something you don't need to do. Yeah. Let the people deal with what they need to deal with, and then if she gets charged with it, then you have your say. If you need to have your say.
To be fair, I hold up my hand. When it came out, and she I didn't pay attention to the whole story. I didn't keep up with it and everything, but I did see a point where she was very apologetic, and she was talking about how she was ashamed of herself, and she let herself down. And when she did all of that, I thought, wow, I felt like she was being quite defeatist, and to me, I felt like, okay, you sound guilty. So
But I mean, you done it.
No, because she could have just been apologetic about the situation. She may not have agreed with maybe
Are you going to be apologetic?
a reaction that she had, but it may not have been to the extent that
You
she
would
was
have
being
defended yourself.
charged.
If you're, I didn't see this, but if you're saying she said, I'm sorry, but for me, if you're sorry, you must have done something.
No,
but you can be sorry for offending. You can, I disagree with that. Everything's so black and white to
you
you,
can be
bro.
sorry for an aspect of what's happened. And
this instance,
that
give me an
apology
example.
sounds like you're apologetic for all of it. It's not necessarily that. Not necessarily that. She could just be apologetic for an aspect of it.
But you would make that clear, surely.
So, question. I got a question.
Yeah, go Judy.
If you're apologising, yes.
What does every man think? Do we think social media was had more of a contribution in a untimely demise or passing, or the actual media?
Media.
I think it's the media.
Because I didn't pay attention to social media.
But I don't know what she's receiving, to be fair.
Until after.
Right.
In terms of the
We don't know what
news,
she's receiving.
in terms of the news and papers and stuff like that, proper news outlets, that was what made me feel like she was.
But
she was
got to think about it. Yeah, go on.
Right, for me, I feel that they go hand in hand simply
I was gonna
because
say that.
the media drives social media.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's the influence
It drives it.
behind.
So therefore, they're pushing the forward, and
They
social
paint
media
the
right
narrative.
behind them.
Yeah.
We don't know
That's
what
where
she.
social media's getting their information from.
Right. So we don't know what social. We're saying who to blame, but social media, for example, we don't know what she received. I can't imagine it was nice. She must have received a bad threat.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But we don't know what it is.
Exactly.
Why are you sending her threats?
People do these things.
People, listen. There are some
It's so
sad
confusing.
people out there.
So
Listen,
confusing.
I want to read a couple of comments. Keep everyone involved as well. Yeah. Shout out Miss Blueborough. Shout out to Hard Body Glam Ashley Banks. Right. She said, "It's true. People in the public eye should be regularly psychologically assessed." I 100% agree. And I think you just got to kind of measure it to some level, but it goes back to what we were saying before about the employers having a duty of care for their employees.
Can I address that?
Yeah.
Whilst I agree, if I choose to be in the public eye, is it then someone's responsibility to then look after me if I'm making that conscious decision?
And that's
I know what I'm getting involved in.
I agree with you. I
So
feel-
therefore, is it their responsibility?
I don't
You're
know if I
making a
agree, but I
conscious choice.
understand.
No, they have.
I like that, Riggs. I like that.
I would agree with you. I would say they have a duty of care.
I'm just
But
asking the question.
But what I think is, I think what we should try to be doing is encouraging and promoting self-awareness. So if you're going to make sure, if you're going to choose to go in that industry, in that sector, make sure you're looking after your mental health. Like,
Agree.
Speak to somebody. Do you know what I mean? Go to therapy, go to counselling. Even if you don't necessarily feel like I 100% need this because everything's going wrong, but just have it there. Just like you'll go to gym and you're working on your body and blah blah blah.
I wish I was going to the gym.
Yeah, me too.
Listen, no, enough of that. Enough of that. But now, what I would say though is, one, we're saying this, but we don't know if it happens. That's one. We don't know. Yeah, Ashley Banks said, no, yes, they supported. That's, to me, supported is it's an after reaction. Ashley Banks's point was that somebody should be regularly psychologically assessed. We don't know if that was happening or not in regards to Caroline Flack or anyone.
Realistic. Can we really?
All right. Hear what I'm saying.
It's a lot.
Well, hear what I'm saying though. The stats say that we have to be. We have to be. 1 in 5 people suffer from mental health. So
But
therefore, if you
ultimately-
look at it, you have to kind of look at that.
But if we were to look at the stats of people in the public eye and the people not in the public eye, is it of greater numbers?
No.
Can we really say that people in the public eye need more?
I would say that they're exposed to
I would
more.
say yes.
Yeah.
No,
what you're asking.
I believe that they may be put under more pressures than your average.
Right.
But
I agree.
But depression and mental health issues can come from any angle. It can come from
Is it any worse in the
situation
public
in
eye?
life.
But you have to
I don't think anybody's disputing that. That's not in dispute. You're 100% right. But if you're placing somebody into a situation which is more pressurized, you're not placing them, but they're in a situation in an industry which is more pressurized, I think you're more likely to get guaranteed results in terms of mental health issues. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's not to say that people in the day-to-day life is not going to get mental health issues, of course. But if you're placing somebody, or if somebody's going into a pressurized situation, it's more likely that they're going to have issues.
Exactly. To me, it kind of rings with common sense, really. Like, let me read out a few comments. Shout out to Clark London. Yeah, he said, "Why is the focus on social media and not the actual media?" Sorry, he put this comment a while back. I think we're focusing on both.
Yeah.
I think Dwayne made a very good point that one feeds the other.
Yeah.
Every action has a reaction.
Exactly, and that's why I asked the question earlier, is that should the media be controlled somewhat?
Right.
I don't know how that can be measured or done, but controlled in terms of the narrative that is painted against people.
And I would say yes. Simply because I think journalism has become journalists now. I don't even think they should have the title journalist.
They're just gossips.
It's lazy.
They're just gossips.
It's just so lazy.
I don't find them subtle or.
It's just blatant.
I don't find them tactful anymore.
Yeah,
I find them a bit too direct now.
I don't think you can control them, but I think they should be held responsible for their actions.
But how? All right, cool.
Yeah,
I understand that, and that sounds good. But how?
You can't-
I
you
wrote a
can't hold
story
somebody
based on,
responsible.
because remember,
You control
if I'm in the media, I'm just giving my opinion. So are you then telling me that I've now got to hold down what my opinion
If
is?
it's not factual and you're
No, but it's an opinion.
If you're,
Of course, it's not going to be.
If you're in the
totally
paper, you
factual.
can't just run off stories based on your opinion.
We can't.
You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
Listen, yeah, we can.
Yes, we can.
What I would say is, I think,
Right, I get that.
I think journalists should be held accountable,
Yeah.
but you can't hold them accountable if there isn't any control. There has to be guidelines.
How do you control them?
Because all right, if I'm a journalist right now, journalists can just put out any kind of nonsense, and there doesn't have to be any kind of validity or truth to it.
Exactly.
Whatsoever.
Look in America.
No, whatsoever.
In America, they have to say allegedly, for example, because they may get a lawsuit themselves.
Exactly.
You understand what I
Media
mean?
outlets do have guidelines and boundaries
And
that
they're supposed to follow.
they have to work within.
And
And we've seen when you do something wrong and you report on something that isn't factual, it can come back to you and bite you in the
Bro,
bottom
look-
in court.
Look at Piers Morgan, bruv. Piers Morgan, do you know how many jobs that guy's been fired from in the media? He was chief editor. I can't remember what paper, and it was proven that they were practicing listening and tapping into people's voicemails.
Yeah.
Bruv,
All of them have done
he's
that.
now the biggest face for ITV. Like, come on.
Yeah, I heard that.
So there's
Controversial, that's why he sells, man.
Right,
repercussions.
this is what I'm saying. And you know what? I'm guilty. I watch Piers in the mornings, and I'm highly
Can't stand
entertained.
that, brother.
I'm highly entertained. But my thing is, for me to, I say entertain. I respect the fact that he has, and to me, what's an interesting point of view, and it's something me as maybe someone who naturally wants to debate. I like people who've got a difference of opinion.
but I
if
don't-
you're just there nodding with me, that ain't exciting.
I don't necessarily believe his opinions. I think he says things in order to get a reaction. He may not even believe what he says.
Like that Katie idiot.
Yeah,
possibly.
No, we're not even going to mention her name. We're not going to mention her. We're not.
I think he
listen.
just does that too often. He gets some
Possibly. Listen, shout out to BO Words. Let me read some comments.
Yeah.
I think then these comments are coming from Instagram as well. Shout out to everyone locked in on YouTube and Pulse88. Right. I think the problem was with actual media and the many stories they put out and harassment of her and her family. Right. So this is where I think Dwayne was talking about one feeding the other.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very rare that it happens, but it's rare that the media are actually the ones responsible for harassing, unless you're on some big Kim Kardashian, Kanye type of levels. You understand what I mean? it's normally what they put out there to the masses,
Well,
and then I guess so.
3, 4, 5, 6 stories, like that's what
Yeah, but I'm saying, but if you send me something like, I'm gonna kill you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're talking
like,
about
you send me,
blatant harassment.
yeah, like,
Yeah, but
still counts.
Yeah, no, their thing is doing what the press is doing is incognito, bro. It's incognito.
Hey, Darren.
We see you. Listen, shout out to Shasha PR. She said her employer can't be blamed. How many people have been sacked and kept it moving? Unfortunately, many people have a very low level of resilience. They should be taught in schools. And it's very interesting.
Interesting point of view.
It's interesting you say that, because it does state here, and I don't know whether it's got any sort of correlation or not, but I'll put it out there anyway. 3 in 4 mental illnesses start at childhood. So if there are measures put in place for children and recognized at that early stage, because the first time I ever heard about mental health, really, I might have even been out of primary school.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
Well,
do you understand what I mean?
100%.
To have any sort of recognition about it, I was out. So if these things and people are being made aware more early, can we put a stop to this? Do you think that is a route that we can go down?
I think I don't know, it's difficult because I think in children you do see, doing the job I do see mental health in a lot of young people. But it's about getting the help that they need, and more often than not, they don't get the help. And they're expected to go into the world and sort themselves out, and obviously that then gets worse.
But you know what? Sorry to cut you, but your situation is kind of not different, but not to say that those children aren't children and need help. What I'm saying is that they are coming from situations where they've been harmed, or not necessarily harmed, but mentally, physically, what may be like deprived. Whereas if you're talking about people that are children that are in just normal households in their family, that's where
they're going through the same stuff.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is the children that are coming to you, you kind of know that, all right, cool, these children are going to need some kind of care in that kind of way. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Let me ask you this. What's to say, I'm just going to use race as an example, that race didn't witness domestic violence and was struggling mentally as a child? Nothing. Just because he come from a home where he had a family, it doesn't mean that he hasn't gone through those same things that someone in care has gone through.
But that's my point though. I'm not saying that they haven't, but I'm saying it's more easily recognised in the children that you are seeing to, because it's identified that they're coming from broken homes.
Right, this is right.
I think that's one. I understand what you're saying. I think that's what it's definitely. I guess it's one denominator. I think, for example, it's a child maybe who has been in, and again, I'm guessing you can correct me, who's been in maybe 5, 6 homes and has come from a broken family, and then you get one child who's come from, I don't know, I'm making up a scenario, a married couple who, has broken up or something. There is definitely, surely, one that you're going to identify and keep your eye out for more than the other.
Exactly. See, I think you're right. For me, in that
it's like red flags, isn't it? There's more red flags than one.
You would say, okay, well, he's come from a tough background, so let me keep my eye on him. But there's nothing to say that a person who's come from the married couple has got more mental health issues than the other one.
Agreed. I do understand where you're coming from. Let me read out a couple more comments, and then we've literally got to go for the ad break. Right, Clark London has said, do we think people are becoming a bit soft? Many people are in worse situations, have less, and don't take such drastic measures. Now, this comment, it angers me.
Right, it doesn't anger me because
it angers me.
You know what it is? Sir, can you repeat that for me, please?
Let me go again. Do we think people are becoming a bit soft? Many people are in worse situations, have less, and don't take such drastic measures.
Can I ask you a question?
People think that things equals happiness.
Right, can I ask you?
Stupid.
Is there such thing?
No, it's not stupid. I don't mean that. Sorry.
Can I ask you a question? Is there such thing as mental strength with regards to being able to rise above a situation?
100%.
Yeah.
To be able to strive through certain things. Yes.
Yeah. So with that being said, has he not got a point with if you don't have that mental strength, you are likely to fall into the pits of mental depression and so forth?
All right, but in terms, I understand what you. I understand. Let me just respond quickly. Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying, but people becoming a bit soft, it's almost like a flippant reaction, regardless of whether they're soft or not. What should we just tell them to toughen up? We've got to.
saying that.
We still got to
I
give the.
I think the point that he's trying to make is, alright, if you just look at, I don't know, say 30, 40 years ago, in comparison to today. Now people are always going to say, oh yeah, but there were probably people there that who were suffering in silence. Of course, yes, but generally you have a lot more mental health issue cases today than you would have back in that day. And I think it's that's what the point he's trying to make.
Alright, but let's just say more money, more. Let's just say more money, more problems. And the reason why I say exactly that.
Whilst I agree with that, you also need to look at the fact that men. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah.
Yes, you know what? in regards to that, Nick. Sorry, I actually acted out flippantly. You do have a point.
Yeah,
you actually do have a point. I'm big enough to say I might have been wrong.
I was wrong.
Yeah. But Darren, why'd you have to make a show? Why'd you have to make a show of it? though? Hey, listen. we got a couple more. Let me read out a couple more comments. Ashley Banks has said, Britney Spears, Justin Bieber, Mariah Carey are examples of what being in the public eye can do to people.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me about. Hold on, Britney Spears. Is Mariah gone? She gone?
She went for a period of time. She had some real struggles.
Yeah, but and again, I guess that goes to the original point I was trying to make. Listen, we're gonna go to an ad break. We're gonna be back on the other side.
And this one.
DJ
Riggs on this one.
What's going on? You're getting a bit excited there,
Yeah.
Brings that things quick.
Yes, people, what's going on? Listen, it's grown ass men in the building. Yeah. Post 88. You know what time it is?
Did you say the number?
Hey,
Say it. No, Dwayne was laughing. I didn't hear you.
Man just wanted to cut off quick.
Hey, it's usually Craig that's gone home, man. Calm down, man. Listen, people, if you want to get in contact with us, if you want to have a discussion, if you want to come live, put your points of view out, do so. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. The number is 07951 497 878. Once again, it's 07951 497 878. Also, if you're scared, if you're scared of Craig, it's cool, I understand. You can just check in on Instagram and you can watch us live and you don't have to say nothing.
Hey, listen, viewers, if you sort of don't see that Darren's got something against me, I don't know what's going on, because Stevie can see the shade. See the shade that
Stevie likes his boy from day one.
Stevie can see the shade that Darren's trying to throw my way today. I get it, it's all good. But listen, it's all love, man. But the topic for today, we're talking about obviously the death of Caroline Flack, who's the Love Island presenter. We're also talking about social media and responsibility in terms of the narrative that they paint on people and the pressures and mental health that these people are going through, which is causing people generally to commit suicide. It's not a new thing. Listen, shout out to everyone locked in on Instagram and on YouTube. In the building we have got Leashy Leash, we've got T Tolls, The Empire, It's Murder X, what's going on? That's my peeps. Yeah, Zin81, what's going on? But before before we kind of cut out, where was we, Dwayne? Do you remember where we was? You don't remember.
You know, you don't remember that, bro.
You don't remember.
You two are the worst two people to be talking about. What stage was we at?
I am, but I took a screenshot because I knew this would happen to me. So I thought, you know what?
Leading the blind.
I thought to myself, just before the feed cuts out, let me take a couple screenshots because I just wanted to make sure that I read these comments out. So The Empire said, "Are people more soft? Question mark. Or are people more comfortable talking about how they feel or the issues they go through, where previous generations weren't?" That's interesting.
I don't like the term soft. I feel like we're not using the right term.
But maybe that's because you're soft, bruv. You don't want to be called soft, innit? Soft people don't want to be called soft.
Maybe.
What other word can you?
I just feel like that. I feel like that might be a bit insensitive.
Would you want weak?
Let me ask a question. I understand that, but if I am mentally strong and someone is the opposite of me, what are they?
Soft or weak? That's what it is. Which one do you want to be called, Rakes? Yeah, you
I do understand your point about insensitivity. I do get that. But the reality is,
I don't believe calling people that are unable to strive through certain issues. I don't feel like using the term.
I'm open to another word.
Is right.
And I agree with you. I'm open to another word.
Is 100% right.
I totally agree, but I'm open to another word. I just can't think of one by myself.
But that's just lazy because there's plenty of words that.
Well, then give me one.
No, you can do so because you're the one.
You said it's easy, bro. I'm struggling.
But you're right.
But I don't need to give you the word. I don't need to give you.
But I'm struggling. You said there are loads of words.
Okay, cool. What I'm saying is, I hear your point.
Weak or soft?
What's another word for soft?
It's your thing. Listen,
weak.
Well, it's the opposite of
say
strong.
someone's mentally weak.
Right,
as
for me,
well.
I mean,
hold on. If you are in a situation, a predicament where you're questioning your mental health, and you hear a man say, "Oh, you're soft," or
It's
"You're-
really, it's
you're
not
weak,"
nice.
Now it's insensitive. I get that.
It's more than insensitive.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong because what's going to happen is that
I agree.
That's gonna place that person in an even.
Further, yeah, I totally 100% agree.
All right,
I'm
but
thinking,
what, all right. So what
can
do we use? What do we use?
Guys,
I have to say the same
it's
thing.
Lazy. It's lazy.
He keeps saying lazy, but he has got no solution.
No, because
But
I
there
don't,
isn't.
I don't need to tell you
Because
that.
this
you
is the-
think of it.
I want you to educate me.
No, you educate yourself. How about that?
This guy, you ain't got nothing.
Listen,
Okay,
it's murder. It's
I-
murder.
I-
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers.
No, but neither
You ain't got the
have you.
answers.
No, but neither have
But
you.
I've
That's the
accepted
point.
that. You said there's loads. You said there's loads, and there's none
And
that you can think of.
There's none that I can think of right now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
But
mean
you
that
said
there
there was
isn't.
loads.
No, but that's what I'm
Drop me
saying.
out, bro.
That's what I'm
Drop me out.
saying.
Drop me out.
All you need to do is go and do your research, go and use a dictionary, whatever you may do, because there's loads of words that you can use.
Thank
Right,
you,
listen,
Darren.
let me hold on. Let me
That's
put
it.
that to the views in Instagram, especially because you guys are the most active. So, in terms of not calling somebody soft or weak, is there another word apart from not strong that we could actually use to describe people who are maybe mentally, in inverted commas, weak? Weak.
But
is it?
you know what I say? Yeah, it's not. Let's move away from that for a second. I look at football. Yeah, I've come up for an era where I've watched the whole thing change.
Yeah.
I was able to play football, and if Craig's having a bad game, Craig, that's
Not often. Let's be real. That's not often. I had some
Craig,
howlers.
irrelevant.
Sorry.
But I can get
don't
on to
wanna go
Craig
off
and say,
topic. Go
that
on.
is poor Craig, did it, and get on him.
And
you know what I
you
mean?
get into him.
And get into him. Whereas
You don't wanna
as
get into him, you
I
wanna
went
get
for a
into
stage. No, I went in for a stage. Yeah,
Yeah, you went through a stage.
I went
Carry
for a
on.
stage where I was part of the evolution of where you couldn't do that no more.
Yeah.
It's about you have to encourage him.
Because
and
we're
so-
in a more politically correct world.
right, and that for me is playing a part in all in I don't want to use the word weak, but weak in the from someone's
Mollycoddling
character
people like just.
because you're stopping him having to deal with certain situations. If
I
for
agree with
example,
that to some extent.
If my son's having a bad game of football, I'm gonna tell him, bro, you weren't good.
Yeah, but
I'm not sugarcoating
But
it.
there's a difference though. You can implement that in your son's life from early, where he's used to that, and
But it's my whole point.
and that's not going to affect him. If you're talking about people who haven't had that in their life, then it's up to you to try and find a different way to.
See, that's my point, Lee.
Yeah, but the answer is it's up to you to try and find a way to help or speak to that person and communicate in their language.
Right, but this is what I'm right, and I totally agree with you. What I'm saying is that I've watched the evolution. I've watched where you can't speak to the person this way anymore. You've got to find a way of softening the blow, and that for me is encouraging that mentality.
But
Yeah, go on,
sorry,
go on,
but
you
do you
don't.
not think that you've grown up in a world where it's okay to, like you say, kind
Roar,
of.
man.
Yeah, you can't go
It's
around.
okay to lay into someone and kind of give them that tough love treatment. But do you not think that we grew up in a world where people weren't as open to saying, I'm going through something, I'm having trouble with this, so you
I think that's
acting
that's
like
what
that.
the Empire was saying.
So
Yeah, you know what? And let me kind of go off the end of that. I'm more in a position now to go to my, let me use my dad, my father, to go to him now and say, Dad, I'm going through some issues, I'm going through some thoughts in my head, and he would be more open or receptive to it now.
Yeah.
our dads couldn't do
Go
that.
back, go eat. No, I'm talking the same dad. the same said dad. Go back 20 years, and I come to him with those things. Bruh, man up.
Yeah.
You know what? Man up, fix up. I remember getting my head bust up at, didn't happen often, but I got my head bust a few times in my life. And my dad sending me back out.
Right.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
that builds you.
Yes, it built me, but right now, that's abuse.
Okay, so would you have preferred that you just took it on the chin and moved on?
At the time, yes.
I'm not asking that. I'm saying as a big man now.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. As a big man now, I get it. But we are all influenced, and I guess this is me saying that we're all influenced by a change of time. And is evolution wrong? Because I said now I'm in a better position to speak to my dad about feelings and him to be receptive and listen to it more so than he was back then. So which one is right and which one's wrong?
It's not a matter of right and wrong, I don't think.
But we're all different because you reacted well to that. to that tough love that he was given. But if you was of a different mentality, you may have just taken that on board, crumbled, and just held that all inside. Later on in life, that comes back to hit you, and now you've got mental health issues.
That's a very good point.
That's what I'm saying. It is because how everyone was reacting is different.
But when you say now,
we don't know.
Has his dad? I get what you're saying, but has his dad, because of his upbringing, strengthened his character because of that? And that's why he was able to manage through that.
That's interesting. Let me. Can I read out a couple of comments?
That a lot of people are going through, and I think we also need to look at like how many of our parents' generation have been affected by and are to this day still affected by mental health issues and aren't able to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? So whilst you're saying, yeah, like obviously your dad would have had a different reaction 20 years ago, yeah, a lot of people at his age, bruv, are affected and are going through it.
Yeah, and listen, and this is what I understand. And whilst in many ways it was right and it was wrong, because yeah, it was right and Dwayne's right. It built up a toughness in me that was maybe a resilience that was necessary for certain things. However, there are things that have that manifest themselves in different ways because of certain things. So issues that I may have been going through, I'm no longer comfortable, or I wasn't comfortable speaking to anybody about it because it was like it was that resilience. Toughen up, cool. Get rid of that thought. Get on with it. However, whilst I am still getting on with it, and to the outside world is commendable, I might be crumbling inside.
Okay, I'm gonna change that. So there are things where you may be struggling with, but you say to yourself, I can deal with this by myself. And then there are other things where you say, you know, I need to speak to my dad. And I feel that again, I feel your pops has played a part in all
but I think that's played a part because of the change. I spoke about the change in him. My dad 20 years ago is not the same man
don't
today.
You feel that you're saying
well, he is, but yeah.
You're saying okay, he was different 20 years ago, but you was different 20 years ago, and I think that you have changed, and you are now able, because you've respected what he has done for you growing up, and now you feel like, okay, that I don't need to bother him with that, but maybe I need to bother him with that. That's the man in you that has just made that decision.
Yeah, agreed. And listen, I can't take anything that you say to me in regards to my dad, my parents, my upbringing. It's made me who I am today. So it's hard to kind of say or criticize things. However, I'm not perfect, and I know some of the flaws that I have and the way in which they've manifested themselves. And whilst they get all the credit for everything positive, there is responsibility to be taken for some of the negatives within me as well. Do you understand what I mean? So that's what we're speculating on. Let me read out a couple of comments. That got real personal, boy. Right. It's Murder X, yeah? The word soft with a Caribbean accent. Soft. Is something that has been programmed into us.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Very true. She said that I find that men have been told for so long that they should man up when they express any emotion that is not rage, anger, etc.
Right. So
and you know what it is? Anger and physical violence is too celebrated from men when expressing frustration, anger, or whatever it is.
And with my son, I tried to separate that. I separate it all. Like, he's one of them kids that he can deal with pain, but as soon as he don't get his own way, he wants to cry. And for me, I'm saying, look, I can't use the right terms there, but I say, stop, like, acting like a girl, like, sort yourself out.
Oh!
You cry if you're in pain.
That was the way.
Listen, I'll say to him, like, listen, you cry if you're in pain or if you're emotionally distressed. But just because you can't get your own way, you don't cry. Yeah?
Okay, I understand. I understand that.
Understand that yes, you can cry, but there has to be a reason behind why you're crying. It can't just because you can't just cry for no reason.
He might just be showing his emotion. Like he might not be able to express his frustration. Because you have to look at immaturity. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So with him, I understand that. But my point is, I'm programming him for when he is younger. Yes, you can cry if you're hurt. I make sure that he understands that you are allowed to cry. Yeah, you're allowed to feel emotional for certain things in your life. Don't feel that you've got to bottle it up.
I get that. But I can't disagree with that.
Is he aware of where he is allowed to show that emotion?
Right, this is what the education is about. I tell him where I feel that it's appropriate for you to cry. But you don't cry just because you can't get your own way.
But alright, but listen to that though. Listen to that. And you know what? I'm not even knocking you, because I think I'm kind of the same in the sense that, like, I tell my sons, like, you know what? It's not everything you need to cry for. But if we're telling our sons, oh, this is what you need to cry for, and this is what you don't cry for, that's too regimented. It's too.
I understand that,
but it's not allowing them to appreciate.
free emotion.
I am emotional, and I'm gonna go through this situation. I'm gonna be emotional, and then I'm gonna come out the other side, and I'm gonna do whatever I need to do. What I tend to tell my son is that have your cry, and then once you've done that, once you feel you've got it out of your system, what's the solution? How are we gonna move past this?
But you know what? You've just illustrated it perfectly. Everyone remembers back in the day, yeah? You was crying.
I know where you're going.
You was crying.
Of course.
Your mum would tell you whilst you were crying.
Your mum must.
What are you crying for? Do you want me to give you something to cry for?
Right. Do you understand what I mean?
And I feel
again, we can still go back to that and say, hasn't that instilled something in you? So as long as we're saying maybe that was there.
No, but hold on. As much as it's instilled something in me, I also think it's instilled something in me negative.
Yeah, because we felt that we couldn't cry for nothing.
Do you see what I'm saying?
They've never, for me, my mum or my dad never sat me down and said to me, well, it's okay for you to cry.
Yeah.
I was never told that. It was always, don't
Never
cry.
had
You're a
any
boy,
such
don't cry.
conversation.
Yeah. And I think, you know what, it's the whole, there's definitely a masculinity, I don't know, complex maybe. We've definitely got some issues, especially within the community. And maybe I say within the community because that's what I know, that's what I can.
We can only speak about what we know.
And I'm sure it might be everywhere. Go on, I'll read the comments after the question. Go.
Just trying to bring it back to the Caroline Flack thing. The question's gone up my head, bruv. I don't know, Dwayne. The question's gone up my head.
All right, listen, while he's thinking, right, shout out to D Empire, yeah? She said, I agree, the word soft is wrong. I was just responding to the term used. The problem is people are trying to simplify a mental health issue. And you know what? I have to agree somewhat. Because I agree and disagree. Because I never come into these type of conversations thinking that we're going to have a definitive answer and cool. Now that we know, the world is all good. I think we need to speculate, we need to debate, and we need to find out and kind of work what's best. I also, just kind of going back into the parenting thing, which I want to come away from as well a little bit. I think it's horses for courses.
Yeah.
I've got two boys and they are totally different.
Yes.
I've got my youngest son who's a lot more emotional than my eldest son. I'm talking at the same age. You know what I'm saying? My parenting style has had to be adaptable. And I think one of the things, exactly, but I think back in the day, bruv, you just had one style, bro.
One rule for
you had one flow for every track. No matter what, it was the same flow. Because I just remember, especially with me and my cousin, I remember getting in trouble like with my uncle, yeah. I was emotional wreck. I broke down. And I look at my cousin's like, cool, I'm ready for these beats. And like, I'm thinking, nah, bro, I don't want this. But the thing is, what that done to me might have affected my relationship with him, but it wouldn't have affected the relationship with the other. Do you understand what I mean? So when I say horses for courses, yes, I think we've got to take into account people have different mental strengths and whatnot as well.
We've got to acknowledge that.
But somewhere down the line, we need to identify it. And if you're telling me that 3 out of 4 children, 3 in 4 mental illnesses start in the childhood, that's where we need to be identifying these things.
We got to identify. In order to identify someone, we have to acknowledge there is different mental strengths.
Agreed.
People shy away from it. We have to accept that there are different mental strengths.
And
nobody wants to say they're mentally weak. Nobody wants to say that, unfortunately.
And I also have to, I think we have to, as the black race, I think we actually have to acknowledge the fact that, you know what? Yes, this is a generation where it is more prevalent, and it is something that you have to adapt to your parenting style, you have to adapt to your listening ear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something we have to adapt to. We can't just deal with it like how our parents dealt with it. Man up, do this, blah blah blah.
It's something we need to be more open to, because I don't want to go into in something totally different, but the problem with our community is that we shy away from things in that we want to we want to cover it up. No one wants to talk about their dad is having mental health problems. And not only do you not want to talk to your friends and your peers about that, but you don't even want to talk about that within the family. Someone's son can be having problems, and
Agreed.
they don't want to tell them.
You know what? Dwayne's talked about that often before about shame. I think we even had it a couple shows ago about shame onto the family. It's always swept under the carpet.
How far does it go though? Like, shame is it's a real thing, guys, and we have to accept that. Now, there's a young girl at my son's school, and her dad has recently started picking her up. But it's clear to anybody with an eye, he's got mental health issues. He stands outside the door speaking to himself. Now, for me, that's embarrassing for the young little girl that he's picking up. And I don't know if I agree. I know it sounds bad.
But what should be done about that?
I don't know. Maybe send someone else to collect her. But I just think that.
What are you saying? What, her dad shouldn't go and collect her because he's got mental health?
What you
Bro,
saying?
it's embarrassing for the young girl.
I get that, but I think should we not start speaking outside the box? My thing is, if the numbers identify that there's a large percentage of people with mental health issues, should we not be more embracing of the fact that people are just different?
Right. Can I touch on that? We're calling it mental issues and so forth. But what's to say that we, who we consider normal, are not the people with the problems?
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
There's nothing to say that.
But there's always gonna. All right, cool. I understand what you're saying. That's a whole different conversation, really. But there's always gonna be strength in numbers and the masses. Yeah, I guess so. Because what's to say that he ain't having the best conversation?
That's what I'm saying. They could be in touch with something completely different to us.
Or I always think to myself, sometimes people with mental health issues, especially when they can come out in ways of personality stuff.
I think
maybe they've unlocked a part in their brain that we
this is how I see it.
Do you understand what I mean? That we don't identify with.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not crazy.
Maybe
we're just not at a level of understanding.
Right, and maybe they're on an understanding of why we are here and so forth, and we are just not on that level with them.
True.
Listen,
I just don't think we, as in the general public, are going to say, we're the crazy ones in there.
No one will be welcoming to that.
So what we have to do is just say, all right, you know what? Like, let's try and get rid of the stigma. Let's try and get rid of the taboo. It's about talking and not just saying it and giving it lip service, but actually generally meaning. Like, I think four of us here, we're brethren. We've known each other for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I think we can all safely say we've been through trials and tribulations in our life where it tested us mentally. It tested us and could still be going through it. Do you know what I mean? How often have we spoken as a group about that? How often have we gone to someone in this group and said, you know what, bro, I'm struggling.
You know what?
I think it was something we used to shy away from, but I think now
we're more embracing
I think over the last couple of years,
and this is what
we as a group are a lot more open about that.
And this is what needs to happen. We need to encourage that. We need to encourage that in our youth. We need to encourage that going forward, and not just, like I said, lip service, but actually encouraging it and implementing it in our lifestyle.
But guys, we cannot let pride get in the way of getting help. I am so guilty of it.
Yeah, about to say it.
So guilty of it. But I guess as you mature and as you grow and as you get closer with the people around you, so what? I've just kind of figured out that we all kind of go through the same ish.
Exactly.
Really.
I agree with that, but sometimes you just feel like you don't want to burden other people with your problems. Like I said, it's been a tough year for myself, and there are many times where I feel I want to talk to someone. I thought, Dwayne, you can just get through this by your damn self.
But
and I just work it out myself.
But hear what I'm saying though, that's a common fault. But what we need to get we need to get to the point where everybody's realizing that way of thinking isn't productive and isn't helping the majority of people. So whilst I do agree,
I agree with you.
I do agree that
do.
it's easier said than done. But the other way isn't working, so we need to try. We need to try and embrace.
When you say it's not working, what do you mean it's not working?
Because the majority of people who keep it to themselves, it doesn't work for them. Like,
you say it doesn't work, but they're still here. Like, he's still here. He's still in his right mind.
I'll give you an example.
No. But okay, hold on 1 second. You said, all right. You've just said he's still here. So what? Because he hasn't killed himself means he's all right.
No, but when I say that, I know hear the other bit as well. I say he's still here. He's still in his right mind. Do you understand what I mean? I want to read out a couple comments, because
Yeah,
sorry, I feel bad when I do that.
I'll
but
respond on the other side.
I don't like leaving people out, and we're gonna go on to another subject after as well. Right, so right, Shah PR said everyone should feel how they feel. Resilience is what you do with that feeling. It actually means to bounce back. True, I get that. The Empire said, she said at Clark London, is there a better term to use if someone doesn't feel mentally comfortable? Clark London said, are we perhaps being conditioned to the society we live in?
Yes.
Would we be saying the same if we lived back home? Possibly not.
But we don't.
Rachel said, our parents weren't perfect. They made mistakes. That doesn't mean we continue them. You now know, so don't repeat it with your own children. 100%. I'm agreed with that. A few people said she agreed. They agree. We don't talk about mental health and we don't get help. Generally, that's from Rachel Rach. BL Words has said, people have different pain thresholds and different ways of processing things. I think trying to teach emotional intelligence and understanding would help. Agreed. We need to go to an ad break though.
Oh man.
We say, Riggs, we got time?
Yeah, you got a minute.
I got a minute.
Forget it.
Dwayne just gave up, you know.
But
But I got too much to say.
Hey, shout out to Find Your Niche as well, just locked in as well, yeah?
Slow.
Mr. ATM as well, shout out to you, man.
Alright, listen,
ATM,
what we can say in a minute though is if there is anybody that wants to talk, wants to like feels like this
And we've had people reach out to us before and we've helped them through things. So
this topic is something that they want to speak about. You don't have to go live. You can contact us on 07951 497 878. Keep it strictly confidential. We're not experts, but we can lend the listening ear.
the email address is probably the best way to contact us if you want to be outside of the show. Because
What's the email?
grownarsemen@gmail.com. That's GROWNARSEMEN@gmail.com. Also, we will be putting a post on our Instagram feed after. So people, ads.